So, I watched It Chapter 2 yesterday. I thought I'd do another one of these quick reviews, get my thoughts and opinions out there, and like I usually do, a quick letterbox review, a nice little star rating. But yeah, I watched it yesterday, and I've kind of forgotten about it already. Which kind of sums up how I felt about the film, really. Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan, to be honest. I was actually looking forward to it quite a lot. I thought it was quite a strong cast, and it was, to be fair, it wasn't awful. Some of the acting was a bit grating at times, but it wasn't bad at all. But I don't know why I was looking forward to it so much, but it just felt a little bit of a breath of fresh air away from films centered around children fighting monsters, like stuff like Stranger Things and whatever. And if you'd seen my Stranger Things review, you would have heard me say that this is kind of what I wanted them to do, is to revisit the town as grown-ups and recollect on what they'd done and kind of thing. But for me, it didn't really work. I wasn't sure if I was watching a horror or comedy, which is, a lot of people have told me if I'd watched it as a comedy, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more. But I felt a bit like the common tropes of a modern day horror were kind of getting to me in the end. All the jump scares and a lot of spectacle over substance sometimes, and a lot of the scenes feel like, for me at least, I felt a bit repetitive. They felt like the same scene over and over again, where a character would get stuck in a situation, and in the first 15 seconds it'd be silent. Then we get a nice jump scare, and then somehow they'd be saved. And that was true for about the last hour and a half. It's kind of that scene, rinse and repeat, it felt like, anyway. And the first It, I actually quite liked. I haven't watched the original It, mind you, but yeah, I did enjoy it. And it's not to say I didn't hate. It's not to say I hated this film completely. James McAvoy is good in this film. Bill Skarsgård is really, really good in this film. Genuinely some terrifying acting, but sometimes they just go full CG and it looks a bit like a Snapchat filter. This film could really rival Venom in its CGI sometimes, and that's what kind of happens, especially in the finale, where it's basically a massive CGI, almost a CGI battle or something like that, and it definitely isn't scary because it doesn't look good or real, which is what I felt in some of the more heightened scenes. But I thought the first act, where they're getting all the characters of the gang back together or whatever, I thought that was really annoying as well. Like I said, that's almost a repetition in itself, where what's the character's name? Mike would call a member of the squad, they react in some way, and then they go on to the next member. I don't think that was really necessary. Maybe one would have been enough, or a quicker way of telling that, because you're watching a It movie and you don't really see It. You see him in the first bit, but then for about 45 minutes you just don't see it. It just kind of adds to the suspense a little bit, but it felt like a bit like a buddy film up until then, which I suppose it's meant to be. But I thought some of the kids' acting was a bit inconsistent as well. There's some good performers and there's some not so good performers. But essentially I felt like each act was just a repetition of scene. The first act being getting the gang back together. The second act was them getting their tributes or whatever, which was just utter bullshit to me. It felt like a Scooby-Doo movie or something. Because it just felt so ridiculous that they had to find some stuff and do it separately, and each story was the same. They'd find something, then a jump scare, then the clown would come out and repeat. In the third act, it was just a bit of tension building, but not real tension, like fake. I know there's a jump scare coming tension, and then there'd be a jump scare, and then they'd escape somehow, and it was kind of like really repetitive, and I really felt almost every minute of this, of the runtime of this film. It's 2 hours 49 minutes long, which is, by today's standards, a lot of movies nowadays are about 3 hours long. It's coming up to that now, I think. But I don't think it's really necessary, and it was dragging a lot towards the end. But speaking of, I'll do my Letterboxd score now. So I gave it 2.5, which is probably quite harsh when you compare it to other films. It's certainly not as bad as some other films that I've given 3 or 3.5 stars to, but because I was kind of looking forward to it, I kind of felt like I had to be a bit harsher with it. But the overall feeling I had with this film is that I don't really care about the characters. I've only watched the first It once, I think, or maybe twice, and that was pretty a long time ago. It came out in 2017, so it's probably over a year ago I watched it. I didn't watch it on release, but watched it a bit later. I can't remember if I've reviewed it on Letterboxd, and I haven't. That would have been interesting, but I probably would have given that like 3.5. Yeah, but this one I gave 2.5, so I wasn't a massive fan. If you fancy it, I would recommend it, to be fair. But modern horrors are starting to definitely grate on me, and they're becoming, it's hard to distinguish from each other sometimes. There is some interesting CGI and interesting thoughts and ideas, which is fair enough, which is prevalent throughout the first It as well. But sometimes they get kind of pushed to the side. The story gets a bit pushed to the side when some interesting like creature horror or something comes up. Some cool stuff like with the firefly, the scene with the little girl where she follows the firefly. That's visually quite nice, but like I said, we'd literally already seen a scene so very similar to that. It became very, very repetitive. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts. Let me know what you thought. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.